Hello, everyone. So it seems that we are the last act before the party starts. So we try to keep you engaged as much as we can. As was said, it's all about Asia and are we missing out? Something that is happening there. First of all, you know who I am. I'm Viljar. I'm currently Estonian ambassador to the UK. And you might ask, why the guy who sits in London talks about Asia. I mean, it's a fair question. I suppose there are many reasons. One, probably that I'm a diplomat and I should know everything what's happening in the world. I probably can name all the countries in the world, including in Asia, and I've visited many. But the true connection probably is that I used to be the first residing Estonian ambassador to India, so I've been in the region for a while. And after 3 years in India, I can say that before I went there, I knew nothing about Asia. Now I know little about Asia, but still nothing. And I think it's extremely relevant. But given that we have panelists here, who all are successful business people, so it seems that Asia has a potential to great business and successful business. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And now the question is, why we are not there? So we have 3 panelists. I start with Shilpa. Shilpa, he is from Singapore, a serial entrepreneur. Has too many hats, so I had to pick a few. So Myra Technology is one, and also Floor Care is the second one that she's the CEO and founder of. But also, as I said, she has awarded so many awards about being entrepreneur and female one as well. And I understand blockchain and AI is the core, and you have a weak point for health technology, so that we definitely can talk about that. Hiro is from, I think, if you look at his resume, so it's all the, let's say, household names you know about Japan are already there in your resume. Yamaha, then Toyota, and now Panasonic.
Yep.
So that also you have founded many companies yourself and also raised many funds. So definitely a success story. And Pramod Bhasin. Pramod is from India, and our connection actually goes back 10 years when we met. And I have to say, Pramod, your resume, it's like a good Indian restaurant menu, long one. So I don't even know how many or what should I pick from there, but it's mostly finance. You spent decades in GE Capital, and then founded a small BPO company called Genpact.
Correct.
Small means 75,000 strong. So about now you are investor in many companies also in Estonia, and one joint project unites us is that we are all involved in Accelerate Estonia.
Absolutely.
So also making things happen. So I want to ask you, why isn't there FOMO with the East? Shilpa.
The FOMO is because out of sight, out of mind. Now, if you see in the European App Store, 15 out of the top 15 apps, 12 are American. So you see a lot of influence of the content from the US more. And that is why it creates a cognitive bias. But there's a lot of action that happens in APAC, which requires cultural diversities, which is really not English. But the beauty of Singapore, pro-English, very conducive to bringing global platter in one place. But it's majorly the cognitive bias as well of what surrounds us. That's to start with.
Hiro, what is your answer?
Yeah, if I can put myself from the pure Japanese perspective, I don't feel strong FOMO is existing in Japan in general. But when I put myself in the more international aspect, given my experience to work in the Bay Area for 5 years, globalization is always kind of the basic trend to push people to think about that this coming from East, this coming from West, this must be superior to what we have today. That kind of mindset, somehow we could see that, but probably not so strong as other part of the planet, from my perspective in Japan. They are pretty neutral. We want to have my own thing, good for me, that kind of perspective.
Thank you. Pramod.
I would say 2 or 3 things. One, historical. that we have a lot of connections with the UK, we have a lot of deep connections with the US now. So many people study there, work there, etc. So we naturally tend to look there as opposed to them looking at us. We tend to have FOMO going the other way. Two, lack of awareness. I think if you look around, look at your newspapers, look at your news, see how much news there is on Asia. Asia is going to be the fastest rising area of the world, and imagine how much coverage you get on BBC in the UK or CNN or anywhere else. It's zero. It's like less than zero. Look at China.
Less than zero. Less than zero.
Less than zero.
Okay.
Look at the coverage China gets. China is only the second largest economy in the world. And occasionally, once in 5 days, China is mentioned as to what's happening. The last one I would say is something we should acknowledge from India, is that I think we are seen as a hard place to do business. Opaque, difficult problems, difficult issues, difficult legalistic issues, etc. So while the ideas may be great, the opportunities may be great, I think people get a little daunted. And you go for the easy route first, and you don't want to tackle that. Yet the fact is that the best opportunities lie in the places which are harder to tackle.
You all say that, yes, there isn't FOMO with East. So you acknowledge that, yes, something is lacking. And the question really is, what is it? In the country where I'm residing right now, in the UK just yesterday, the Prime Minister called for elections, 4th of July, and Labour hopes to win after the victory of Tony Blair 25 years ago. And the Labour says right now that in 1997, 25 years ago, the British economy was bigger than China and India combined. Now China is 5 times bigger than the UK, India is 2 times bigger than the UK, but still it seems that the linkages are not there. So, but I want to turn it around as well. Is there a FOMO with the West in Asia? Shilpa.
I would say that we have a lot on our plate. We are satisfied, but there's always welcome to have more, especially when we're performing. So, not FOMO, but I think the ambition to absolutely spread impact globally.
Yeah, I echo her. Actually, I might be a little bit unique Japanese, but I try to avoid to compare red and blue and asking a stupid question, which is better color. By having those two colors, we have an opportunity to blend those two colors to become purple, right? So diversity means like that stuff. So West and East, we can say, okay, West and East. Actually, this is spectrum, right? So how we can educate ourselves to be tolerant, those kind of a difference, how we can enjoy new discoveries in that spectrum. I really want to be a person to cultivate that kind of way of thinking. Then we can combine the concept out from the East, out from the West, together to create something new there. That's kind of the basic of innovation I could learn from my days in the Bay Area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pramod, you also helped to get Indian companies over here today.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't an easy task, I understand.
Well, we got 12 startups here. It was very short. It wasn't as easy. And even here, I think for lots of people, they're also looking at these Indian companies and saying, good ideas, now what do I do with them, right? So I hope all of you will go meet them. They're upstairs, they have fabulous ideas, and I hope some of you will put your money there. I do think we are very different from Japan. Japan has had, is a developed country, has been developed for years. I've driven a Toyota for the last 40 years, I think. So ever since I was in America, I've only driven a Lexus or a Toyota. Your products are known worldwide. Indian products are not known worldwide. We are known for yoga, and we are known for a very large population. Yep. That's the things we know how to do best. Those are the stuff that we are known for. But the fact is, at the end of the day, we need to get out. India needs to get out, also prove its worth, build global products, etc. But the fact is, the opportunity is also in India. We have 100,000 startups. We have 120 unicorns. We have a population of 1.4 billion. It's a poor country, $3,000 per capita income, $3,500. But within that, we have 100 million people earning more than $30,000, $40,000. 100 million. So I think being able to reach out and it's our job, I think, a bit like, Viljar, you're the one who got me to Estonia, and the last thing I ever thought was I would be spending my time in Estonia, right? So we also have to do our job to reach out to Estonians, Baltic nations, Scandinavia, and say, please come to India, we'll make life easier for you.
But
Our job.
On the very last point, how can we change this? Because when I was ambassador to India, I have to say, my biggest challenge was to get people to visit Estonia. I knew that if they already land, they usually like what they see. But just to force them or convince them to take the trip, that's difficult. And I felt the same way about the Estonian companies coming to India or Singapore when I was in my previous job, or Japan. So it takes a special character, maybe also a special sector. So people are aware, scared, but also, awareness is lacking from exactly what you said. So, but people-to-people interaction is the most important thing. So what can we do so that Estonian companies would come to your countries? Who wants to go first? Hiro.
Okay. Probably Japan is quite different situation than other Southeast countries, including Singapore and India, in terms of the population, economical growth, and other stuff. But from my perspective, that's why we can identify our own role and responsibility to work with other countries, not only the Southeast Asian countries, but also globally. Because we are entering the generation, we are losing population, aging society, outdated infrastructure, lack of labor force. China is catching up very, very fast. Without having good solution available there, what kind of future we may see? We are okay, but how about our kids, our next generation? Then that's why in Panasonic, we set our focus on public sector and the social innovation, how we can democratize decentralized system to be more sustainable for the next generation. Yeah. So again, if Japan can take that kind of responsibility and we can play the role, how we can work together Absolutely. To make your economy or society to be sustainable.
Absolutely.
That kind of discussion we really want to cultivate.
Absolutely.
Shilpa.
I have 3 things to share. One, I think awareness, right? So the beautiful Estonian embassy in Singapore takes a lot of active initiatives for Singapore to know about Estonia. That is where the awareness starts. And initiatives like these, where we are now getting aware about, one, the beautiful weather, because Singaporeans need that.
It's always like that.
So that's beautiful. So awareness, one. Second is personalization. So when one person from one country needs to go to another country, some amount of personalization in terms of cultural comfort is always needed. Enterprise SG is also here in Estonia, and they've really brought in business mission here, a lot of Singapore startups here as well. So this kind of helps the cross-pollination. And then third is building a community between the 2 countries to then actively maintain the stickiness to do more together. So I think these 3 things, and technology absolutely helps in this to make that happen. So that would be my 3 cents.
Right now, seems like, you are representing 3 different countries, but, your talk is like very harmonious. But at the same time, Asia is not, it's very heterogenic as well. So that all the markets are different. And often it seems to me that, I have attended a couple of big European countries' similar events, and most striking for me was that, 95% of the talks are in the native language, and only 5% is in English. And that's a big, big drag, I would say. It means really how your focus is so domestic. But I think, at least in your 3 countries, that's not the case, and that's very important. But where are your differences? So how would you highlight, let's say, particularities of your own country? Pramod, I start with you.
Well, it is an accident of history that we speak English. And the fact that we have, 55 languages in India, so actually we don't understand each other most of the time. So if I'm in Delhi and I meet the guy in Chennai, and that language is as different as French and Chinese. So we speak in English by default. And we have one common language called... So that, by the way, the entire industry I started, the business process management industry, was started because we had English-speaking Indians who could serve UK and US markets. That's how it started. It was an accident of history. So I think that aspect is very helpful to us as a country. Yet we are very different in stages of development. So what I would say is, one of the things which I would love to do here, Viljar, with your help also, is to set up a cooperation between Estonian startups and Indian startups, where we can help each other grow in each other's territories, bring investments to each other, make the connections, go to market, work with the governments, etc. I think there are things like that we have to do beyond government, to government relationships, which I think would be very, very helpful. What do we love about Estonia? What do I love? And by the way, Estonia is very well known in India, not in depth, but they all understand it's the digital country. It has the most advanced e-governance mechanism, and it's admired for that, right? Most of them don't realize, when I tell them how small it is, most of them don't realize how small it is. So you kick well above your weight at any point in time in Estonia, and I think you know that.
Thank you. Hiro.
So Japan is the very established country, and that could be asset, but recently we see this could be a legacy or debt that made us become laggard to adapt new innovation. And when I looked at India or Singapore, they are very open to learn how innovation system or the ecosystem can work effectively from the case in the US. And specifically India, when I got the opportunity to work with some people based in Bangalore, so many people got back from US by learning how Silicon Valley became the center of their innovation. They effectively implement with localization into the Bangalore, a center of the innovation in India. We couldn't see that kind of movement, unfortunately, in Japan. So we need to work together. And again, what our role and responsibility to create a brighter future is the key. So what is the role and responsibility we're going to play in India, Japan, Singapore? This is natural harmony we are currently seeing. But again, if I need to focus on Japan, very domestic, very close thinking.
Yeah.
And given we have the 120-ish million people still, good market there. And our most 99.9% people, including me, can speak Japanese only. That's going to be a big wall to collaborate with others. But we could see some opportunities to collaborate beyond language barrier and the culture gap recently.
Shilpa.
So I'm going to
And don't forget to ask any questions you have. Yes.
So I'm going to break some barriers in terms of misconceptions and perceptions that we usually have. So Singapore actively speaks English. That's the key language that we are all brought up with in schools, colleges, everywhere. So that's sometimes perceived as it's not English speaking, but it's not. Everybody speaks English as the first active language as well, along with 4 languages, but that's the key one. Second is the ease of doing business and starting business is actually ranked 4th, compared to the West, which is around rank 55. So, and I think Estonia is also very similar, that it's very quick. I heard almost everybody can actively start a company here as well. So the cultural and the business similarities can actually bring us closer to do a better business relation together and grow as a better market. One more similarity I want to share. We are 7 million as a country with very good controlled parameters. So very similar and disciplined like Estonia as well. That creates a good success. So I believe knowing about these similarities makes it more comfortable for companies to travel across, speak and share about what they do and spread the impact together. So that's the key benefit of English-speaking country.
Maybe one of the last questions I want to ask you all is that, again, now let's get very practical. So, what can we do to change it all, what we just discussed? That, our companies, European companies, should look towards Asia more. So, in your respective countries, who are the key people or key things you need to do? If I'm a founder here, never been to Japan or Singapore, what should be my first step? Maybe also, if I try to turn it around, how you all 3 got here. So this was also the first step. So can you use the same analog? Pramod.
Absolutely, absolutely, Viljar. So I think the first step kind of has to be that you start thinking about Asia as a huge market. and a huge opportunity. Perhaps not as much in Japan because Japan is so developed. But in a country like India, we need everything. We're a poor country with low infrastructure. It doesn't matter what you look at. Fintech, healthcare, energy, pollution, education, financial services, banking. We need ideas for everything, and there's a gap everywhere. So the opportunity is one huge. So I would say, embrace that as much as you can. Certainly, we are the most chaotic nation in the world. Anybody who has been there, Viljar, you will acknowledge that. We are compared to Japan, my God, we love our chaos. So you have to embrace chaos, right? So you have no idea where you're going, what's happening, et cetera, but it's warm, it's a happy country in many ways, it's warm, it's friendly, people are open, you can do business very easily. Lastly, I would say, Viljar, if people want to come to India, there are many avenues which are waiting for you. There are business conferences, there are major startup events like this. I just helped organize one which had 2,000 startups show up there, right? So we have massive conferences going. Come to those. There are industry organizations. Come to those. There are many avenues, and India is less difficult to navigate than it looks from the outside, I promise you. And then there are people like me, and I'll put my email up, and you can all contact me, and I'll bring you all to India.
Very good. I just wanted to translate what the promoter to say. Contact him, and you can get to India. Hero.
Yeah, and do you know that what is the most important indicator for a startup? Started from C. You may think capital? No, customer. If you are aiming to do something social innovation, we have a customer ready to receive your business in Japan now. And also we have a capability to change the hardware architecture effectively to be able to unlock potential of software. My background is a software engineer in robotics and automation. That's why I clearly understand importance of the hardware, because hardware is a bottleneck of more software to do greater things in the real field. If you want to do real innovation in a real field, real customer for a social innovation, we have tons of customers already here in Japan, probably more than India. If that's the case, I totally want to encourage to come with me to do your crazy idea to be realized, show your solution to the customer. Then that's going to be your gate to scale to the countries.
I like the competition here.
Very good.
Shilpa.
When it's very cold here, come to Singapore. You'll definitely get all the warmth and love from Singapore that way. But I think the starting point is learn about the markets, establish strong channel partnerships before you come. So Singapore is very tech first and online and digital as well. So identify the communities that you're interested with, collaborate online, and when you come, you'll be warmly welcomed. And yeah, Estonia Embassy in Singapore has been doing a fantastic job along with Enterprise SG as well. So I'm not paid for that, but just letting you all know that identify the right communities. Like I run a community for healthcare in Singapore as well. So happy to help, and everybody is very warm, open to do business actively with everyone. And it's a global pattern. So if you want to cover all the APAC countries, Singapore is a good starting point because probably from Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, almost everyone would be there to get started in APAC. So it's the right, perfect point to start with.
Thank you. Our time is up, although we don't have a following act, so that I could continue for an extra hour, but I'm sure that you all have things to do, and most important, I think, when I try to sum it up, and my own experience as well, Asia is massive, and especially on paper, if you think of it, you get the feeling that you cannot grasp it. But I think, if I would give my recommendation on what to do is that just, simplify everything for you. I mean, take it apart to the small, more tangible pieces. And what I mean by that is actually we are all just people. So people-to-people interaction, use the opportunity, these three excellent business people here, make your contacts, make your, let's say, links, and just go and see what's happening in Asia. With that, and the last question was here, and the most important one is, what is the evening program on Thursday? And the answer is very easy. Look the Latitude59 app, and you get to know that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.